Am I the antagonist for not taking down my video that was a gift from my best man? I have a sister that's 6 years older than me. My parents for years cancel on me last minute because of my sister. I have a basketball game. Sorry sister doesn't feel like going out. I am graduating. Sorry sister had a bad day at work. They have missed both major and smaller events in my life because of her meltdowns. I met the love of my life. We decided to tie the knot. From the beginning I told my parents how I am worried my sister will ruin another special moment in my life. My mom told me over and over again it would not happen. The day of my wedding, I received a voicemail from my mom saying they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick and she was upset. I was hurt. My best man, however, is a jokester. He took my phone, then went to my fiancée and asked if he could post a video of our wedding as a gift on social media. She loved his idea. I had no idea about it until I came home. Our honeymoon was at a lakeside cabin. No cell service. The post caption was my best friend. He is an amazing person even if his parents never showed up for him. Video was still pictures of us next to her parents, me on the dance floor, cutting the cake. Where you would normally see both parents in wedding pictures. The sound behind the video was my mom's voicemail explaining how they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick. I came home a week later to hundreds of messages. Family members from both sides insisting I take it down. I was told my sister hasn't stopped crying. My mom is refusing to leave the house. I may be the A here. I didn't take it down when I got my messages. I didn't call my family back right away. I waited until my vacation time was over at work and enjoyed my time with my wife in our new home before I contacted anyone. My dad told me to take down the video. It was just a bad night for them. That they will make it up to me and my wife for not coming. My reply was exactly, how do you plan to make up my wedding? It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You choose to ignore my feeling on the whole matter. Then he just repeated he will make it up to me. I told him I would take down the video only when he made up missing my wedding. Flustered, we both hung up the phone before we've both said things we shouldn't have. Am I the A here? I could have just taken down the video. NTA, they were finally called out on their blatant favoritism and they obviously didn't take it well. I'd hold off inviting them anywhere or to anything, OP. At least for a while. Don't make them your first priority when you clearly aren't theirs. Focus on your new wife and your absolutely awesome best friend. They both sound like keepers. NTA, I think I'm in love with the best man. He absolutely showed your parents' favoritism/hypocrisy in the best way ever. I hope there will never be an invite to a baby shower, etc. So, typically, when someone asks you to take down a video of them because it's embarrassing, you do it because it's polite. But in this case, hard not the a-hole. They didn't have a good reason to miss it, and they're rightfully mortified. They made the bed, they can lie in it. Leave the video up. And when parents try to contact again, first insist on the plan to make it up to you. Next year, the day of the anniversary, share the video again. And add to the caption that despite your parents not going to your wedding, they've promised to make it up to you. But you're still waiting for their plan. Honestly, I think it's fitting. Maybe it's petty, and it certainly doesn't fix anything. But I wouldn't take it down either. They've let you down time and time again, they've finally been called out for it and they hate it. Maybe others will completely disagree with me here, but sometimes karma doesn't do its job fast enough. Congrats on your marriage. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to go back to work immediately after having a baby? Due to the massive cost of living and a few health issues, my mother-in-law lives with my partner, myself, and 2 kids. I'm about 12 weeks pregnant with baby number 3. The other day we were discussing what was going to happen when the baby was born. My mother-in-law jumped in and said she was happy to watch the baby so I could go back to work. which is amazing. I said that I was going to be taking around 12 months off so I could spend time with the baby and bond with the baby before going back to work. My partner agreed with me. My mother-in-law said that her intention was to retire next year so I could go back to work and she could look after the baby. My partner stepped in and said she could retire if she wants to, but I've already said that my intention is to spend 12 months at home with the baby before going back to work. My mother-in-law seemed a bit put off by this and went to her bedroom. We didn't hear much about it for the rest of the day. Today we saw sister-in-law and she asked what was going on. We explained it to her and she said that mother-in-law feels like we don't trust her to look after the baby. To be honest, I don't fully trust her to look after a baby. And that I'm putting off returning to work because we don't trust her. I told sister-in-law it had nothing to do with that. I just don't want to feel like an incubator that has grown a baby, given birth, and handed it over to mother-in-law to raise. I want a chance to bond with the baby and have time to watch it grow, etc. before going back to work. She understood my perspective but said that most people don't spend 12 months with their babies and they don't have an issue with bonding with it. That mother-in-law was being very generous offering to care for the baby, and I was an asshole for putting mother-in-law in a position where she has to keep working and can't look after the baby. I said that if mother-in-law can't handle working, then she isn't going to be able to care for a baby full-time either. Sister-in-law got pretty annoyed at that and we left soon after. The general consensus around the family now is that I'm being an asshole for not just handing over the baby to mother-in-law once it's born so she can raise it, and while I think this is all just one big miscommunication, I was wondering, am I the antagonist for not being more appreciative of mother-in-law's offer? Or am I being an overdramatic parent by not wanting to return to work for 12 months? Most people don't spend 12 months with their babies, In many countries they do. NTA. If you can spend 12 months to bond with baby, good for you. It is your child. Plenty of people do spend 12 months or more with their baby, and every parent absolutely deserves to choose the length of time that works for them. NTA. Your mother-in-law is obviously emotionally going through something since she keeps escalating the situation. Your sister-in-law should be helping reassure your mother-in-law instead of trying to put you in your place. If you are able to take off work and spend a year with your child, you should be able to without their judgment. Unless you're asking them to support you, they don't have a say. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to pay for a prenup? My 29 female and fiancé, 31 male, are planning to get married next year. For some context, he is better off than me financially. No student debt and higher paying job. We got a good handle on splitting costs. He owns our home and so I pay the bills. My name is not and will never be on the title. This was a joint decision I am happy with. We also have a good arrangement for housework and chores. While no one gets married with intentions of getting divorced, it's important to be cautious. He asked me if I'd be willing to sign a prenup to protect his assets, and I happily agreed. In case if a relationship going south, bitterness could lead to unnecessary headache and drama, so why not? He hired a lawyer and got the document ready. I have read it. It's fair. Problem: for the doc to be valid, I need to hire my own lawyer to review and sign off on it. That costs about $1,500. While I am not exactly broke, I also don't have that much money to spare. I told him that I don't think it's fair for me to drop $1,500 for a document that is mainly for his sake. Basically, I will definitely sign it, but I expect him to pay for my lawyer if he wants it done. He is very upset with me and is accusing me of going back in my word and making excuses not to sign a prenup. That is not the case. I'd sign it right now if it was valid without a lawyer. We are at an awkward impasse. So am I the antagonist for not wanting to pay out of pocket for a document he wants? I don't want it, but I'm not offended by it. And I sure as heck don't want to blow a lot of money on it. Marriage is already expensive. Edit TOADD. I pay the bills for groceries and split the electricity and internet bill with him. He pays fees, taxes, maintenance, etc. NTA. I would sit down with him and explain your reasonings, which are very valid. If he refuses to see your side or compromise, I would seriously consider if he is the one to marry. NTA. That's perfectly reasonable. If he's not willing to pay $1,500 to protect his assets, that's his choice. Just keep delivering the message that you'll absolutely sign the document, but that you won't foot the bill for something he asked for. NTA. The prenup seems to benefit him and him alone. Why would you pay $1,500 when you don't have that money solely for his benefit? If he's the one insisting on it, he should cover the costs all around. This is a really bad deal for you. His payments add value to the house. Your payments are consumables. You would gain nothing. A better deal would be to have expenses allocated according to the percentage you each contribute to your total income. That way you each add value to the asset. Should things go south, you could then recoup your percentage of the asset after deducting the down payment. Do not sign this. Am I the antagonist for refusing to help a coworker? I, 28 female, am single, don't have kids and live alone. I also do not work OT or do anything beyond my work. Also, I am not in the U.S. First, let me explain what my work is like. So we are an internal auditing company. I work in the logistics auditing division. What that means is that when a company hires us, mostly to see how good their policies are, we shadow their workers to see where efficiency can be increased. Sometimes that means working night shift, delivery, warehouse, manufacturing, etc. We are very lucky that we have an awesome manager and team leader. Once we divide the tasks, you can do them whenever as long as your report is handed when it should be. Work from home, from the office, at 3 a.m., less than 40 hours. It doesn't matter. For the 6 years I have been on this team, another female coworker, 30s, has been doing her absolute best to work the least amount possible. First, she is either always pregnant and not able to shadow anyone but the office workers, she is on maternity leave, for months, on her yearly vacation, a month, or conveniently sick when it is time for some heavy-duty work, she sends in a doctor's notice, and we have unlimited PTO as long as you have a doctor's notice. And she is in the office, she is dumping her work on the others. She uses her kids as an excuse all the time. Well, usually the other team members pick up her slack. I refuse to do so. This time we are auditing a larger company, so all hands on deck. And for the first time ever, she is neither pregnant nor on maternity leave, and she just got back from her yearly leave. The company we are auditing is in another city, so the members who will have to go will be staying there for 3 weeks. This time it is my turn to stay in the office, well, my home TBH, and do the data organization/analysis. She asked me to switch with her. Apparently she can't leave her 5 kids alone with her husband. I said no. She tried to guilt-trip me by saying that what she would have to pay for childcare is more than what she would get paid for the whole month, and that I don't have any responsibilities like her. I told her, well, they are not my kids, so I don't see how that is my problem. Now she is pouting like a kid, and some coworkers are saying that I don't know how hard-working moms have it, that I should be more compassionate. So am I the antagonist? NTA, not your kid, not your problem. If she can't travel because a guy she made 5 kids with can't take care of them when she's away for work, then she should change job to something not requiring travel. NTA, it's not your responsibility to account for her kids. NTA, it sounds like travel is an essential part of your job. If traveling is such a hardship for her with her kids, then she needs to find another job, since that means she cannot meet the basic needs of her position. You did not make the decision to have 5 children, nor did you make the decision to have a husband who cannot live up to the responsibility of a parent. Being single and childless, myself, I'm tired of people like us being treated like our time and our lives are less valuable because we don't have kids. You shouldn't have to shoulder extra work because another worker's home life. There's a certain point where reciprocity is required. This is a coworker that routinely dumps their work onto everyone else around her. Having her on the team isn't a positive. As you said, it isn't your problem that she has kids. It isn't your business that she has kids. What is your business is that when she is in that seat, she makes everyone else's job just a little bit harder. Am I the antagonist for rotating a guy's bag in the overhead compartment and making him get gate checked? I was boarding a flight and saw that the overhead bins were full for about 5 rows going behind my seat. I noticed that one of the bags directly above my seat was sideways, so I rotated it to be straight/wheels back and put mine next to it. The bag was clearly too big for the overhead bin, and my rotating it made it obvious that the compartment wouldn't close with the way I positioned the bag. About 5 minutes later, a flight attendant comes by to close all the overhead bins and notices this guy's huge bag. After trying a few times, she told the guy that he'd have to gate check his bag because it was too large to be a carry-on. He reluctantly agreed, and then told me I was an inconsiderate asshole for touching a stranger's bag and that it was my fault that I didn't have space for boarding after him. I told him that he was an ass for trying to take up at least 2 bags worth of space with a bag he should have checked in, and that it would have been a pain for everyone if I had to go back 5 rows to put my bag above a different seat. Am I the antagonist? Edit. Some people seem to think I'm an AH for not walking 5 rows to put my suitcase in the overhead bin behind me. 3 points. 1. That holds up the entire boarding process because I have to then shimmy back up to my seat after I put the bag there. 2. It's a full plane, and presumably there will be other people who need to put their bags in that spot. 3. It's also a PITA after the plane lands. I have to let everyone else deplane before going back to get my bag, or else I'd be blocking everyone behind me. Edit 2, because I've been asked a few times, his bag fit in the bin before I rotated it and that the bin could have closed. It was a large bag though. The FA gate checked it because it was clearly larger than what the airline allows for carry-on luggage. That wasn't my call, and I explained the whole situation to the FA before she made her decision. NTA. He was trying to get over and got caught. Why should you, who can't put your bag in because his is oversized, become inconvenienced because of his sneakiness? You shouldn't. Most airports have a measuring station. He knew his bag was too big and was going to inconvenience everyone else by breaking the rules. He's a jerk. NTA. NTA. I once saw a guy take off his suit jacket, lay in flat in the overhead compartment, then flip out when someone put their carry-on on top of it. Its etiquette for overhead bins is pretty clear, and this guy wanted to violate it. Every airline has regulations for the size of allowed hand baggage. It is posted on the airline's website. His luggage was too big. Anyone that has flown lately knows that the overhead bins are always full. By taking an oversized bag, he is forcing others with regulation-sized bags to gate check. He is the rude and selfish one. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister I hate being around her and I hate her? My 23 female sister, I'll call her B so I don't confuse people, passed away in July. I was absolutely devastated because she was my best friend and I loved her more than life itself. Right from the start, my other sister, 28 female, had made things about her and tried to exclude me from everything that had to do with the planning of B's funeral. Tried to convince my mom to make me stay at home with her kids instead of going to the funeral home and shot down every opinion I had. I finally just shut up and talked to the funeral director about the funeral stuff alone. When the wake happened, my sister basically threw a tantrum. I had asked them to change the color of the flowers from blue to purple, and I guess something about it made her mad. She went up to the funeral director and snapped at him that the flowers were wrong and that they were ruining the funeral. I informed her that I got Mom's permission to change the flower colors to purple since it was B's favorite color, and if she was going to snap at someone it should be me. My sister went to my mom to ask her if what I said was true, and my mom said that I knew the most about B, so she had no problem with me changing it. Sister stormed out and didn't come back. The funeral came and my sister again tried to get me to stay with her kids and got mad when I said that I will not be excluded from saying goodbye to B, and if she has a problem with me being there then she could leave like she did yesterday. In the middle of the service, I started to panic. That was my sister and best friend in that coffin, and I was going to have to say goodbye to her when I shouldn't have to. To avoid making scene, I got up and I went to the bathroom to splash water on my face and try to get myself under control enough to go back in there. When the water didn't work, I went outside to get fresh air and try to get the panic under control. Here's where I may be the asshole. My sister came out and asked me what I was doing. I told her that I was panicking and I just needed a minute to get myself under control for Mom's sake so I don't make her feel any worse. She then told me that I need to get myself together because I'm making this about me. I snapped at her and told her that the only person who is making things about themselves was her and that she needs to shut the fuck up. That I haven't gotten a break or time to even attempt to cope because I have been taking care of our mother while my sister did the selfish, narcissistic bullshit she always does. I told her that I moved away because the thought of being around her makes me so angry I can't see straight. That she couldn't take 2 days out of her shitty life to not be a complete cunt. That B was laying in a box in the building right next to us getting ready to be put in the ground forever, and somehow my sister had managed to make her death about herself. And that I hate her for it. Am I the asshole for what I said? NTA. Making this about you is the exact opposite of what you were doing. Instead, you took a step back to actively not make it about you. Your sister is being extremely nasty and dominant in a time where you are obviously all on edge and coping with the loss of a close family member. It's no wonder you cracked. So sorry for your loss, OP. NTA. When someone pushes us beyond our limits, it's only human to snap. Plus, it sounds like you did not lie. I am sorry for your loss. NTA, I can't imagine the pain you feel for the loss of your sister. My condolences to you and your family. Excusing yourself quietly to catch a breath is normal and acceptable. Being pestered while you're preparing for your heart to break even further when saying goodbye to someone you deeply love would set anyone off, especially what your other sister put you through that week. Edited for grammar. So sorry for your loss. You did the exact right thing stepping away to not cause a scene or cause more distress for your mother. I'm so sorry your sister added to your grief by making it about herself and causing such a scene, and now what you will remember is telling her off, which she absolutely deserved. I hope you can cut her out of your life and still keep a good relationship with your mom. Family stuff is so complicated.